Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video from Planty Mandy. I am Mandy. That is Katie. Katie's bum anyway. Thank you so much for coming back. So today I'm going to finally deal with this humongous Senecio variegated wax ivy. So it was outside this summer. It's just grown completely crazy. It is on a heart trellis here, but you can't really see it because it just grows like mad. I would love to let it trail, but it will climb anything it possibly can. And I'm thinking about actually propagating the entire thing, starting over from scratch, because there's no way I can get it off this heart trellis without completely wrecking it. But I have an idea for a trellis, and I've never done it before, so hopefully this isn't a total gong show. And I have the chicken wire that I have made moss poles from, and I know it's not strong enough to stand up on its own with the weight of a plant on it. So I also have stakes. And my idea is to make a circular trellis in the middle of the pot, kind of like a fence, and then plant all of the propagations on the outside of the trellis and let it just do its thing and climb up. My only concern is that the sun is going to come through from the front or the back, and then the leaves are going to face towards the inside. So I'm thinking maybe like a cardboard tube in the center that would block the sunshine from coming through, and then I can just rotate the plant and get the leaves all facing the outside. I haven't gotten that far yet. Ideally, like a PVC pipe would work great for that, but I don't have that, so cardboard is fine, I think. I'm hoping. But so we're going to just start by cutting this wire, and we're going to plant it in a pot in a bunch of dirt, and then we're gonna propagate the plant, and we'll see how long this takes and how long this video gets. Okay, I am going to try and aim you down a bit. You can still see me a little bit. You can still see Katie over there. You can still hear the cat that would like to catch Katie, but she can't because Katie can fly. So that's good. So I measured this pot. I'm using like a shallower pot because it is propagation, so it's not going to have any roots yet. But it's 7 inches across. And then I figure the trellis should be about 5 inches across to leave room for the plants on the outside. So diameter, circumference, all that stuff, it should be about just over 15 inches circumference, right? So this height is good with the poles. And then I just need 15 inches this way. And of course, all I have is a ruler because that's how we roll. We work with what we got. And so about here. And I also have no wire cutters because my tools disappear. Does anybody else have that problem? I've almost been tempted to pay the pink tax and get like pink tools so they look girly and they don't get stolen. But I have a feeling that my husband wouldn't care and he would take them anyway. So it probably wouldn't work for me. And when he does take my tools, they end up in his truck, who knows where, or over on my in-laws' property in a barn somewhere, and I will never see them again. So I'm using my kitchen scissors that are half dull anyway, and it worked. So that wasn't too bad. And then zip ties are a girl's best friend. I would prefer them to be green to match the wire, but they're clear and that's fine. This plant grows so thickly anyway that eventually it will just completely cover up the zip ties. Okay. Let's get rid of this big roll. And what am I thinking? I'm gonna have to put a pole right in the seam where I'm putting it together into a circle like this. Maybe I can aim you down a little bit more. Excuse my hand, that was rude. Okay, pole here. Would be easier to just zip tie it first and then add the pole. Maybe I'll do that. It's like twice as much work, but it's easier, so that's okay. So, update on YouTube. It's going great. I actually filmed 2 videos last week, so I am at least a week ahead, which is great. I would rather have a little bit of breathing space in case life happens and I don't film for a week. Ideally, I'd like to be like 3 or 4 weeks ahead. That would be great. Really appreciate everybody who is interacting with my videos. Literally, I'm constantly watching it, and every time I get one singular new subscriber, I'm like celebrating and telling my family, and it's like, yay, now I have 30 subscribers, and then yippee, now I have 31 subscribers, and they're probably sick of it, but I love it. And seriously, like every time anybody comments, that makes my entire week. So I really appreciate all of you. I am trying to upload 1 longer video a week and 2 shorts because it seems like people find me on their feeds through the shorts more than anything. So I try and upload a short on Tuesday when I upload my regular video. And then seems like activity kind of dies out again within 48 hours. So I try and upload another short on Friday, and then that helps people find me again over the weekend. And that seems to be going well. I'm the kind of person that goes whole hog wild into every new hobby or endeavor or whatever. And I would just go crazy and upload 2 to 3 videos a week. But I'm trying to pace myself because I do tend to then burn out and then never touch that hobby ever again. So I figured that 1 video and 2 shorts a week is reasonable to keep up with long term. And maybe I'll find that changes in the future and recording videos becomes more second nature and I'll do more of them. But for now, I think that's a good pace. So I'm trying to attach this stick thing. This stake, that's the word. This stake on the inside, so it'll add stability but not be too visible. Thinking just 3 zip ties on here would be fine. And I'm going to do 2 stakes because I know this plant gets really bushy and heavy and I want this to be a long-term solution. And I only have 2 stakes, so it has to be 2. 3 would probably be ideal. Well, I do have more stakes, but they're longer. And I don't really want this plant to take over my entire life and be like 4 feet tall. So I think this is a 2-foot stake. So 2 foot tall in a 7-inch pot is manageable. And then once it reaches the top, I can just keep trimming it because that's going to be its limit, I think. I might have to up pot it once it's all rooted in well, but That sure didn't work right, did it? Oh my goodness. When you use a zip tie, you're supposed to like attach it to both things, not just one thing. I guess I could do it from the inside too. No, that's too difficult. Around the stake and around the wire is good. It's very awkward. I need more hands. More hands would be great. So, story time. You would have seen a short 2 weeks ago through the magic of YouTube. It was 2 weeks ago, but in real life, it was yesterday that I bought a whole bunch of succulents and cacti. So I'll include a photo right there if you haven't seen them yet. If not, maybe you can go find my short from 2 weeks ago. Am I still recording? Okay, my phone's ringing. Anyway, so there was this nursery that's about an hour and a quarter drive from my house. And I went there the first time last year on my birthday, which is in November. And it is a family-run nursery that sells only succulents and cacti. And it's this huge, wonderful greenhouse on a family farm. And I absolutely fell in love with it. And I was like, this is perfect. This will be my birthday trip every year to go buy some plants from this beautiful nursery. And then this year, beginning of September, they posted in their Facebook that they were closing down forever and the business was done. So I was very sad about that. And they posted that all of their plants were 2 for 1 for the month of September. And I really wanted to go check it out for the last time, get a bunch of stuff, but I really didn't have the time or the money to go and do this in September. And so I decided that it was okay. I didn't have to go do it. It was fine. And then on like September 22nd, it was the 23rd, I think, they posted on their Facebook that all remaining 2-inch pots were 5 for $5. So I'm like, at this point, I can't afford not to do this, right? Like, that's too good a deal to miss. Okay, so I'm standing this up. I have this bucket of old soil, like all the leftovers from repots and new plants and all that stuff. And because this plant grows so well, this is what I'm going to use. It's just simple and easy, and there's already perlite in there, and then I don't have to use brand new soil and waste not, want not, right? So I'm going to put some in the bottom, like so. I'm going to stick that right down in the bottom because I really want it to be as stable as possible. And just fill it in. So I saw this Facebook post at like 11 a.m. and it was yesterday, which was a Monday. And I looked at my calendar and it was like, this is the only chance I have to go do this. I was busy every other day this week. It is an hour and a quarter drive. And so I decided to just go do it. And so I had one kid that's dealing with middle school friendship drama, as they do, and needed to get out of the house and think about something else. So we went for a drive. And it was absolutely gorgeous out there because it's the end of September and the leaves are starting to turn yellow, and pretty much the entire drive is country and farms, and all the farmers were in the fields doing their harvests. And it was 23 degrees out, which is like 75 Fahrenheit, something like that. And we just had a great time. It was just perfect, and I'm so glad we did it. Plus, of course, I ended up buying 35 of these little 2-inch pots of succulents and cacti, of these succulents and cacti that I would probably never see again, right? The selection in this place is astronomical, and unless somebody else starts up an exclusively succulent greenhouse like this one, I may never have this chance again. So I didn't need new plants. I didn't need to spend the money, but like I said, I couldn't afford not to. I had to do it. It was necessary. And also it was just a really good mental health break. So we won't talk about the money it cost for the fuel because we don't talk about that, but it was worth it because it was for our mental health, I think. But now I have all of these little succulent babies. First of all, I get them home and realize that none of them are labeled, and I didn't take any pictures of the names or anything, and I could vaguely remember some of the genuses. And so I had to run all of them through a plant identifier app. Thankfully, PlantNet is the app I would recommend for plant identification. It's really good. It's like user provided photos of these plants, and it'll tell you like, we're 88% sure that it's this plant, or we're 44% sure it's this plant. And then you have to do some more work. And I was able to identify all but like 3 of them that I'm going to have to do some more Googling on, but it's way better than doing like the Google app or whatever. Okay, so that's that. I think it's okay, hey? Like I said, the only problem is if I plant them on this side, they're going to see the sun from this side and they're going to grow in towards the center. So I'm going to have to figure out kind of an opaque tube of some sort to put down in the center to block the sun, and then I'll just keep rotating it. It's fairly stable, I think, once it gets watered in. Okay, so now this big boy is the problem. Let me point you up a little bit. I am just gonna start chopping away. It's healthy, it has no pests. If it did have pests, I would throw all the cuttings in a big bowl of soapy water, and soap kills bugs, so that would be great. But it's totally great. This plant, when I first got it, I had terrible issues with aphids of all things, and it was not outside. This was purely an indoor plant when I got it. And I had never had aphids on my indoor plants before, and it didn't spread to any other plant, which was really weird to me. And every time I got rid of them, they'd come back in a few weeks. I eventually did get rid of them with systemic. It's just had to be done. So because it's a Senecio ivy, it's a succulent. It is not at all related to like English ivy or those types that are so prone to spider mites. And even though I have mealy bugs like everywhere on my succulents, this one has never had mealy bugs, so that's great. Just trying to show you how I'm poking them. I'm just poking them directly into the soil. And then I'll just let it, I don't know, I'll let it callus for an hour or 2, which means just letting the ends dry out, especially because it's a succulent. There's a big piece of wood in there. So that it won't rot, and then I'll water it all in. And that'll be that. This stuff propagates super easily. And it should grow roots all on its own. I have found with this one too, just like a lot of succulents, you can propagate it simply from leaf cutting. So that's great, especially if you do have any pest problems, to just start over from scratch. And even though it's variegated, it will grow more variegated plants from just a leaf, unlike the peperomia that I told you about a couple of weeks ago. So I'm just cutting off anything that isn't looking fantastic and sticking it down in there. Pretty sure it doesn't need a node to propagate in the soil. It doesn't grow the roots from the nodes. So I just need to get the stems down into the soil. Kind of like that. There we go. And I really hope this is going to work out well with this trellis, since I've never done it before. So I will give you updates as time goes on. Like I said, this stuff just climbs like crazy and does not want to trail. So I could see it very easily just taking over this chicken wire. I'm going to get so many cuttings out of here. I may have to propagate some baby plants too. So I think what I'm going to do is just speed up the rest of my work in here, and I'll meet you back when it's done. Okay, so I think that's all I'm going to do on this. Some of them are facing the wrong direction, but like I said, this stuff wants to climb. So I could put a tie around the outside and hold it up to the trellis, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it'll just start to climb all on its own. And I'm going to try and figure out some cardboard for the center, so I will be right back. All right, so this is what I came up with. It's completely imperfect and not very attractive, but I used what I have, so you know, reduce, reuse, recycle, and all that jazz. And of course, it's not waterproof, so I'll have to pull it out when I water. But there you go. It'll block the sun a little bit. I don't know if this is even an issue, but it sounds like it should be important to me. So the biggest problem with cutting this plant is it smells terrible. I don't know what the smell is. Do all Senecios smell weird when you cut them? I don't know. But I barely made a dent in this plant. Like, it's still huge and unmanageable. So I'm probably going to continue snipping it and cutting it and propagating it, but I'm not going to make you watch me do that. So that's that one. And this one is the other giant problem child. So it is a Hoya Pubicalyx. It's huge. It's on a ladder trellis, and I've been fighting mealy bugs on it for weeks or months. So I attempted to put it outside this summer, and it did not kill the mealy bugs, but it did kill a bunch of the leaves. It got very sunburned. I only left it out there for a few days and I took it back in again. I've done systemic, I've done spraying, I've done wiping, I've done all the things, and I still see some live mealy bugs on there. Not a ton, but there is some, and I'm just tired of it. So the plan is to completely cut it all the way down and propagate it. I will throw all of the cuttings in this soapy water. So it's just blue Dawn dish soap and water, because that's what I have and that's what's easy. They do sell pesticidal soap or horticultural soap that is easier on the leaves. But I find that if it's only 1 or 2 treatments, then dish soap is fine. It's not going to hurt anything. If you're doing it like on a weekly basis as preventative, you're going to want the actual stuff made for plants. So I'm just going to start at the top and propagating this. I'm hoping to get like 2 or 3 leaves per cutting, because I really don't want that much Pubicalyx. I really don't want single node cuttings of this. So if I do 2 to 3, I think it should root fine. I'm going to throw them directly into the soapy water, get all those bugs permanently gone, and then trying to decide how I want to propagate it, because it will propagate in water, it will propagate in moist perlite, it will probably propagate directly into soil. And that's what I'm leaning towards, is directly into soil and then sealed up in a bag or a bin for the humidity, because that's just going to be the easiest. And it's such a cheap, common Hoya that I'm not worried about losing some cuttings. So I'm just going to start snipping away and throwing them in here. This is really difficult. Oh! Okay. It's really difficult. It's going to fall over. It's difficult to show you everything with my camera so close. So we're just going to do the best we can. All right, kitchen scissors again, because that's what we have. And I decided to do this one second. Oh, okay, yeah. So when you have a plant on clips like this onto a trellis, that's where the mealy bugs are hiding, underneath the clips. So I'm going to just toss those right in there. And there's definitely some mealy bugs on this strand because they were hiding underneath the clips. So this is kind of the length of the cutting I'm doing. I think that should be fine. Into the bath. Into the tub with you, and another clip. Okay. So obviously be careful with Hoyas, because they do have that latexy type sap. Some people are allergic to it. I really don't think I am, but it's still kind of gross. This one's just like a clear sap on the top. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, there we go. Maybe. A lot of them have white sap. Into the tub. I'm trying to keep them facing the same direction so I know which end to stick down into the soil. There's a clip in there. Oh, there's my kitty bird. Once again, with Hoyas, You don't need to get the node into the propagation medium for it to root. It will root all the way along the stem from the bottom and from the sides. So that's a really good thing about Hoyas, is you can just stick them in anywhere and they'll do fine. So any of them that have sunburnt leaves, I think I'll just toss that whole cutting really. There's too much of this to worry about each and every little cutting. Or if it just has a sunburnt leaf, that one can go. The rest of them look fine. Obviously, the reason that I chose to do the Senecio first is because I didn't want to transfer any mealy bugs to that plant. So if I had done this one first, I would have to disinfect all my tools. But I'm doing it second, so I'll just clean everything when I'm done. Long bare stem. There are some baby leaves there that might activate, but I'm not going to bother. Also, for the most part, you cannot propagate a Hoya from a single leaf. It needs a node in order to grow more vines and more leaves. Tendrils, that's the word. So plans for future videos. Definitely want to do more collection tours. I'm thinking like Epipremnum is an easy one to do next because they're always doing well. Philodendron would be good. Monstera I don't have a ton of, but I do have some nice ones. Anthurium, since I'm still fairly new to them, I'd like to give them a few more months until I really talk too much about them, but that will definitely be coming. And then also I would like to get my plant shelves in the living room cleaned up and organized a bit better. Put some more plants on there because I'd like to film in there too. So what you see behind me is just a small fraction of my plants. I would like to be able to show you all of my plants. And that said, of course, everybody loves a full house plant tour, and that seems very overwhelming because, I mean, with those succulents now, I definitely have over 200 plants. So that would be a very long video. Or I could split it up into multiple videos. So if you have an opinion on that, I would love to hear it. I'm not sure anybody wants to see a 2-hour plant tour from me, but maybe a couple of hour-long plant tours would be good. Oh, this is very tangled. I also need to do a terrarium tour for you guys, and it needs some maintenance because it is growing out of control. So that's on the list too. And then maybe just some beginner guides for the newbies to find me on the search engines. So beginner tips on soil, watering, fertilizing, light, which plants are easy beginner plants, that kind of thing. If anybody's got some other ideas, I would love to hear them. Or any special requests, information you'd like to know, plants you'd like to see. Trying to think of other genuses. Kind of have a few of the prayer plant types, but not a lot. Couple of peace lilies. I did peperomia, dischidia. I think I only have 1 or 2 dischidia. I would put that with Hoya probably. I could do a Hoya tour, but I just did the potting up of the propagations. We are gonna need a bigger boat. Definitely gonna need a bigger boat. This is a lot of cuttings. Can I get this out now? There we go. Ta-da! This needs to be washed. Getting there. It is a really pretty plant. There's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes the common plants are just popular for a reason. They grow easy, and especially since it's not very variegated, it doesn't need a ton of light. They're just low maintenance and good staples. This is one also that I would love to have trailing, but it just doesn't want to trail. It'll just grow up everywhere and find anything it can wrap itself around, including its own vines. So I figure if it's that desperate to climb, I better just give it a trellis and let it do that. Okay, so the rest of this, I think I'm just gonna let it go because there's not a lot left to propagate in there, and I really don't want to try and grow it back out because of the mealy bugs. That's kind of the point of doing this, is just get everything washed, and I can't really get rid of them in here. So that's gonna go in the garbage. I'll keep the pot, obviously, and wash it. This needs a lot more water and soap in it. And then I'm just gonna let this soak for a while I go make supper. So I will meet you guys back here. Okay, I'm back. Just got supper thawing out and took a little break, and I'm just gonna stick these Hoya in some soil. So these pots are just the same soil from that big bucket left over who knows what, and it'll be fine. I'm gonna try and make them pretty bushy. Probably should rinse off this soap, but I don't want to, so I'm not going to. And I'm going to try and make them bushy because there's a ton of cuttings. Maybe I should point you down a little bit. I made a bunch of pots. I have no idea how many I'm gonna need. And there we go. These have soaked long enough that hopefully now they are finally pest-free. So, what are we watching? I really like to have like a sitcom and a more dramatic show going at the same time, so I can kind of decide, depending on my mood, which one I want to watch. So I just finished, for sitcoms, I just finished The Good Place, which I had started years ago and I didn't love, and I watched it again now and I absolutely adored it. It is hilarious. But it's one of those sitcoms that you have to like really pay attention to or you'll miss the jokes, right? So if you're looking at your phone at the same time, you're not going to find the show funny at all, because you really need to catch those quick jokes, and they just make fun of like pop culture and normal life, and I love it. And like when they do like the score sheets of like the points to get into the good place, so bad things take points away and good things give you points. And I was pausing it during those on my phone and zooming in and reading all of the things that they say on there. And it's honestly hilarious, like the writing that went into that show. So I was sad to finish that one. And then I'm also sad because I'm almost finished watching Once Upon a Time again. And that I have watched all the way through a couple times. It's like my comfort show for sure. I just love fantasy stuff like that, but easy watching. Like it doesn't take a lot of effort to watch it, and it's not like really violent like Game of Thrones or anything like that. It's just fun and innocent. So I'm on the last season when they tried to like reboot the show with a whole new cast and everything, and it did not go over well, and it's not great, but it's like, well, I'm in it now. I have to watch everything they made. So that's almost done, and I'm really not sure what I'm going to watch after that. I did start a new sitcom. I started watching Two Broke Girls, and that's another one that I tried watching years ago and I didn't really get into it, but I'm like out of stuff to watch, man, so I've got to try these old ones over again. Maybe you guys have some suggestions for me. I have like watched all of Netflix at this point, so I mean, I'm back to rewatching stuff, and that's fine. Like the oldies but goodies, like the sitcoms that I love are like Big Bang Theory, Schitt's Creek is great. What else? Modern Family, Life in Pieces, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. There's so many good sitcoms out there that you can just rewatch over and over. Oh no! Plant down, plant down. Oh dear, I was being so clean and tidy too. I have watched The Office a couple times. That was just a totally different vibe, right? It's more, well, it starts off kind of slow and subtle, and then they get more zany as it goes along. For dramatic shows, it's a little bit harder because I don't really like crime shows. I don't really love too much action. I do really love like fantasy stuff, but there's not a lot of that out there really. I did watch The Handmaid's Tale. Didn't finish it because I was waiting for them to finish the series so I can just get through it. But that one's a hard one to watch, so I definitely need a good sitcom to go along with that. And my mom is totally excited about The Golden Bachelorette, which just started. And I guess The Golden Bachelorette is 61. And I am totally uninterested. Not into reality TV at all. I used to like Survivor, like when it started out, but I haven't seen it in years. Like, can't believe it's still going. I wonder if I should try it. Is it any good? Comment down below and let me know. But I'm like, I would watch the Golden Bachelorette if she was like a Betty White type, you know? Like, if she was like 85 and the guys were like 95, that would be amazing. I love it. And the only like reality dating show I've ever liked is Love on the Spectrum, which was autistic adults dating. I don't know if that show is still making new seasons or not. I should look, maybe. I did enjoy that one. It's just totally wholesome and sweet. But other than that, I'm kind of not sure where to go next. It's kind of like you binge watch a show for like months on end, and when it ends, you kind of feel lost, hey? Kind of like you're grieving your friends on the show at that point. But somehow I recover. Somehow I get over the grief and find another show to watch. I did try Game of Thrones. I only made it like a few episodes in, and it's not that it was too violent or anything. I just kind of didn't get invested enough in it, so maybe I need to go back and watch it. I do like Outlander, that's a good one. I don't do a lot of like The Walking Dead and zombies and things like that, but anything with a dragon in it is a winner for me. Like, I really do like Lord of the Rings, that kind of thing, and that they did make that new show based on the Lord of the Rings. It's like a prequel show, right? What was that, The Ring of Power or something? And I didn't realize they made another season of that. So that I should definitely go watch. I did watch the first season and I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people were like, it's not actually Lord of the Rings. It's not real to the books or the movies or whatever. And I don't really care. I just like the fantasy. So maybe that's what I'll watch next. If anybody has any suggestions for me, I would be happy to hear them for sitcoms or more dramas. Can I really call them dramas? I don't know. More deeper shows. I can't just watch deeper shows because I need to laugh sometimes, so I like doing both. I think I'm putting about 7 cuttings in each pot, and some of them might not totally make it, so that's okay. And this one's long. I'm not sure about that one, but we'll give it a try. I mean, I've got so much of this. Maybe I'm putting 8 in some of them. So that's 7 pots so far. 7 of 7. Oh, gotta go let the dog in. Should really introduce you properly to the dogs. Oh, he's gone. It's kind of harder to do when I'm filming at a table. But maybe once I get my living room organized with plants, then we can film in there and then we'll see the dogs more. So, almost done with these. I will water these through and then stick them in a big clear storage bin for the humidity and let them be for a few months probably. It's the good thing about plastic bins is once you seal it in there, they really don't tend to dry out at all. Okay, I think that's it for the Hoyas. So I do still have some work to do with cutting down that wax ivy and putting it into pots as well. But I think this video is long enough as it is. So thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you next next week. Until next time, peace, love, and plants.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright, and for the first time in a long time I'm alright.